Argentina came from 2 goals down to win 3-2 in stoppage time, and the football world is still catching its breath. Welcome to FairPlay, Football AI Review. This was a World Cup 2026 round of 16 knockout tie at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. No second chances, no second legs. Argentina arrived as group winners with 9 points from 3 matches and 5 straight wins, while Egypt had navigated a challenging path through qualification and their continental competition, arriving here with genuine belief, but fully aware they were facing the tournament's most dangerous individual player. The pre-match narrative centered entirely on Lionel Messi and whether his 2026 campaign could produce another magical chapter. Argentina had no injury concerns of note. Egypt, however, were dealing with undisclosed injuries to 2 unnamed players, and coach Hassan Hussein was forced to trust a setup built more on structure and collective organization than on individual brilliance. Except, of course, for Mohamed Salah in attack. Scaloni set Argentina up in a 4-1-3-2 with the single pivot of Leandro Paredes shielding the defense and giving both Enzo Fernandez and Alexis Mac Allister license to advance. Rodrigo de Paul and Messi flanked Julian Alvarez in the front 2, creating a fluid attacking unit with multiple overload points. The intent was clear: control possession, stretch Egypt horizontally, and create spaces for Messi to exploit in the half spaces between Egypt's lines. Egypt lined up in a compact 4-4-2 under Hassan Hussein, with Mohamed Salah partnering Mustafa Zico up front and a disciplined midfield 4 tasked with keeping Argentina at arm's length. The plan was to absorb, stay organized, and hit on the counter, denying space in behind while looking for moments where Salah's quality could punish any defensive lapses from the Albiceleste. The tactical mismatch that defined this contest was between Argentina's width through Nahuel Molina and Nicolás Tagliafico against Egypt's flat midfield line. When those fullbacks pushed high, Egypt's wide midfielders had to track back, opening the central corridor, but Egypt adapted early and pressed higher than expected, which is precisely how they created their opening goal. Argentina began with purpose, dominating early possession, 64% for the match, and moving the ball with the crisp authority of a team in form. They looked settled and comfortable, but Egypt refused to sit deep from the first whistle, pressing with aggression and disrupting Argentina's build-up rhythm in the opening exchanges. Then came the shock of the 15th minute. Marwan Ataya delivered a precise cross from the right flank, and Yasser Ibrahim timed his run to perfection, beating Lisandro Martinez in the air to power a towering header beyond Emiliano Martinez. It was a goal against the run of play in terms of XG, but executed with clinical precision. Egypt won, Argentina 0, and Atlanta was stunned. Argentina responded immediately and won a penalty in the 21st minute when Hissem Hassan brought down Nicolás Tagliafico inside the Egyptian box. Up stepped Messi, the tournament's leading scorer, but Egyptian goalkeeper Oufa Choubert guessed correctly, diving to his right to push the spot kick away. The miss was enormous. A converted penalty would have leveled proceedings instantly, but instead, Argentina found themselves still trailing and suddenly vulnerable, the momentum unmistakably shifting toward the Pharaohs. That miss seemed to rattle Argentina's rhythm, and Messi compounded his misfortune shortly after by striking the woodwork when the score remained 1-0. A glorious chance to equalize came and went, and with Egypt growing in confidence, the Albiceleste were in genuine danger of facing a mountain to climb by half-time. There was also a major moment of controversy in the 58th minute, when Mustafa Zico burst through on goal and finished to put Egypt 2-0 ahead, but VAR intervened, ruling that Marwan Ataya had fouled Lisandro Martinez in the build-up. The decision sparked fierce debate. The foul occurred while Argentina were still in possession, leading analysts to question whether the interference was truly significant enough to disallow the goal. Egypt's players were furious, and the atmosphere around the dugouts turned fractious well before the final whistle. The halftime whistle arrived with Egypt still leading 1-0, and Argentina looking unusually rattled. For all their possession and technical superiority, the missed penalty and the missed tap-in had cost them dearly. Scaloni needed solutions, and quickly. Something had to change in approach if Argentina were to avoid one of the tournament's great upsets. Argentina began the second half with greater urgency, pushing their fullbacks higher and flooding the central areas with runners. But Egypt, now defending with deeper conviction, absorbed the pressure with organized resilience, and then, against the tide entirely, struck again in the 67th minute. Haitham Hassan created space on the right flank and delivered a sharp cross into the box. Mustafa Zico, arriving with perfect timing, met it with a composed right-foot finish to make it 2-0. It was a counter-attacking masterclass, 93 minutes of expected goals across the entire match, and Egypt had produced a finish cold enough to make it 2. The scoreline felt precarious for Argentina, and for the first time in the tournament, real doubt crept into their performance. Scaloni acted decisively at the 66th-minute double substitution. Nico Gonzalez came on for Tagliafico and, crucially, Lautaro Martinez replaced Rodrigo de Paul. The tactical message was unmistakable. Attack with direct runners, add a second physical striker, and stop playing around Egypt's block. Lautaro brought the intensity and the movement that was missing, and his introduction directly unsettled the Egyptian defensive shape. The next change came in the 73rd minute when Gonzalo Montiel replaced Nahuel Molina. Montiel's overlapping runs from the right provided a fresh attacking outlet, and it was his assist, winning back possession and laying the ball inside, that contributed to the chain of events for Messi's equalizer. Sometimes the most impactful substitution is the one that creates the assist. The comeback started in the 79th minute, and it was Christian Romero, a centre-back, who sparked it. Messi floated across from the right, and Romero attacked the ball with conviction, heading powerfully past Chabert to make it 2-1. A defender scoring from a corner delivery at a World Cup knockout tie is precisely the kind of set-piece investment that coaches live and die by. 4 minutes later, Argentina were level. Messi ignited a move from the right, Lautaro Martinez kept it alive with a spectacular scissors kick flick at the far post, and after Gonzalo Montiel scrambled to recover possession, the ball fell back to Messi, who fired a low volley into the net. 2-2. A comeback that seemed impossible just 13 minutes earlier was now complete, and 68,000 fans inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium were on their feet. The decisive moment of the entire match arrived in the second minute of stoppage time. Lautaro Martinez found space on the right and delivered an inviting cross. Enzo Fernandez, arriving late with the timing of a man who lives for these moments, met it with a clean header and sent the ball beyond Chabert's despairing dive. 3-2. Argentina. The comeback was complete, and Egypt were eliminated. The final whistle triggered chaos around both dugouts. 5 yellow cards were issued in rapid succession. Ufa Chaubert, Haitham Hassan, Hamdi Fathi, Marwan Atea, and one other Egypt bench member, all for dissent and protest directed at the referee François Letexier. The Egyptian staff member Safan El-Sagir received a red card at 90+4 for protesting the referee's decisions. It was a combustible ending entirely in keeping with a match that had burned with tension throughout. On possession, Argentina's 64% dominance told one story, but the XG figures told a more honest one. 3.18 for Argentina against just 0.93 for Egypt confirms what the eye test suggested. Argentina should have won more comfortably, and Egypt's 2 goals came from extraordinary efficiency on minimal opportunities. Egypt's 4 saves from Chaubert are the statistic that kept the margin as close as it was. Argentina launched 19 shots in total, 11 of them from inside the box, yet only 7 found the target. The XG overperformance by Egypt is the genuinely remarkable statistical story. They manufactured next to nothing in open play, yet converted twice from 5 shots. Argentina's attacking threat was overwhelming in volume. The problem was execution, and the inability to kill the game earlier created the chaos of those final minutes. Defensively, Egypt were outstanding for 67 minutes. Their 4-4-2 held its shape against relentless pressure, and the flat midfield line was disciplined enough to deny Argentina the central penetration Scaloni had designed his system to exploit. But when Lautaro arrived on 66 minutes, the physicality changed. Cristian Romero, meanwhile, demonstrated that defending is only half his value. 4 tackles, 3 goals conceded on the night, but it was his header that started the comeback. Enzo Fernandez was Argentina's standout performer. 90 minutes played in the energy-sapping Atlanta Heat, 79 accurate passes from 119 attempted, 1 goal, and the kind of driving late runs into the box that mark him as one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the world right now. His winner was not a fluke. He had been pressing Egypt's defensive line all night, and eventually the pressure yielded its reward. For Egypt, Mohamed Lashin was extraordinary. 123 passes, the most on the pitch by any outfield player, 3 tackles, 2 shots, and a work rate that was simply relentless across 96 minutes. He was the engine of everything Egypt did going forward and backward, a player who deserved to be on a winning side. His pressing and retrieval work repeatedly won back possession in positions that created Egypt's dangerous moments. Mohamed Salah was the player who underperformed most conspicuously on the night. 0 shots, 0 assists, 22 passes, and largely anonymous in open play, the Liverpool captain was given enough space on the left side to be dangerous, but delivered nothing. Whether it was fatigue, tactical isolation, or simply a night where the connections just did not click, this was not the Mohamed Salah that Africa believed would be the difference maker at this World Cup. Scaloni's triple substitution between the 66th and 73rd minute was the defining managerial intervention of the match. Bringing on Lautaro Martinez at 2-0 down rather than panicking or going too early showed composure. The double attacking change changed the game's physical and psychological tempo entirely. Hossam Hussein's halftime introduction of Hamdi Fati for Imam Ashur was sensible defensively, but once the score reached 2-2, Egypt had no real response, and the substitution of Omar Marmoush late on was too little, too late. This was the first confirmed competitive meeting between these two nations at a World Cup, making it genuinely historic. Argentina's win means they hold the psychological advantage firmly, and the manner of the comeback, from 2 down, will linger in Egyptian football consciousness for years. It was the kind of result that builds legends for one side and leaves lasting scars for the other. Argentina came into this match on a 5-game winning streak that included victories over Jordan, Austria, and Algeria in the group stage. Their form has been imperious, though the one blip, a 1-0 defeat to Ecuador, showed that on any given night they can be caught. The squad depth on display here, with Lautaro Martinez and Gonzalo Montiel both making decisive impacts from the bench, suggests Scaloni has genuine options at every position. Egypt's recent form painted a mixed picture: a draw with Iran, a draw with Belgium, a draw before that, all punctuated by wins against lower-ranked opposition. Their qualification run was solid enough to earn their World Cup place, but the gulf in squad depth compared to Argentina became brutally apparent in the final 30 minutes. When the game opened up, Egypt simply did not have the firepower to hold on. Egypt are eliminated at the round of 16, their World Cup journey ending in heartbreaking fashion after a performance that deserved more. Argentina advanced to the quarterfinals, where they will face the winner of match 96 on July the 12th. With Messi leading the tournament's scoring charts on 8 goals and the squad clearly capable of fighting back from the brink, the Albiceleste remain among the strongest favorites for the title. Argentina's path to the final will not get easier. The quarterfinal opponent from match 96 is still to be determined, but Scaloni's side have shown both the quality to control matches and the mental strength to survive near catastrophes. That resilience, when it counts in a knockout tournament, is worth as much as any tactical system. Argentina will qualify from this bracket, of that I have very little doubt. Messi's impact remains decisive, and the collective quality across every line is simply too deep for any one opponent to suppress for 90 minutes. Egypt leave with their heads held higher than the scoreline suggests, having genuinely threatened one of football's greatest upsets. But Argentina, as they have done before and will do again, found a way. This match was a reminder that World Cup knockout football respects no form guide and no XG model. For 67 minutes, Egypt were magnificent, disciplined, and dangerous. But Argentina's quality in the final 15 minutes, driven by a 40-year-old captain who still refuses to accept defeat, proved ultimately decisive. That is the story of this remarkable evening in Atlanta. This has been FairPlay, Football AI Review. Argentina march on to the quarterfinals, and this extraordinary tournament is only getting more compelling. Stay with us, the next match is just around the corner, and if it comes anywhere close to this, we are all in for a treat. That's the FairPlay verdict on this one. If you want more analysis like this, follow us, find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at FairPlay AI, and follow Anthony personally on X at Anthony Fairplay. See you next match.